Take a little sip of that coffee before we get this party started. So today's topic is going to be a little bit different than what I usually talk about. I usually show you guys a lot of anatomy, movement, and body work stuff, but I want to get into a little bit as to the why I do body work and why I think body work is very important work. So I think, as we start aging more and we start to see things that are going on in our culture and our society, we see that people have very little awareness as to where their body sits naturally in space, meaning that they don't have spatial awareness, right? They don't have enough awareness to know what's not working and what's overcompensating and what's being harmed and what's being underused, right? And I think why I think this work is so important is because not that I think that other jobs are not important, but I think where we are right now in our culture, in our society, we lack so much of this movement, so much body work, so much touch that we're really lacking the physical confidence that we need to really be able to do a lot of things efficiently. And I'm not talking about confidence like, oh, you with your shirt off and flexing your muscles. I'm talking about the confidence to be able to use your body efficiently, to be able to move something from one corner of the room to the other, to be able to pick up a kid, to be able to pick up something at the grocery store, to be able to move your eyes, to be able to scan a room, to be able to vocally connect because your throat's not locked up. All these things are a lack of awareness that we really neglect, and it happens because it starts to go unnoticed one thing at a time, little by little. For example, you get low back pain, you're like, oh, okay, low back pain, cool. It's not that bad right now. Pop a quick pill, feel better, call it good, and move on with your day. Over the next few days, it might hurt a little bit less and less, and it might come up in a couple weeks or in a month. It hurts again, and the habit starts to pop pills. And then you're like, oh, okay, now my neck hurts. I'll pop another pill. And then, 6 months, 8 months, 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, you're walking, you bend over to grab something, and your back goes out like that. And then you're like, I didn't do anything. I don't know why my back went out. Well, fuck. You haven't done shit. Exactly right. You haven't fixed any of the problems that you've had in the last year. You've allowed it to go unnoticed for so long that now it's become a problem. Your body sent you the signal of that symptom. Hey, fix this, fix this, fix this. But you're like, I'll deal with it later. I'll deal with it later. And our mind, being a selection device, we could choose what we want to work on and what we don't want to work on. We're like, okay, I'll deal with you later. I'll get to you later. And it happens. It happens fast. It happens over time. And before you know it, injury happens. So I think when things go unnoticed, then you get injured, then you have lack of movement, then it's that vicious cycle of trying to recover because you're not getting the proper movement, nutrition in your body. So having that awareness of your body, of your function, and of proper movement will really allow you to communicate to the world much better with what you want from the world. And let me explain that. So for someone who may be stressed out or a little bit depressed, typically wears their shoulders like this, not like this, right? So when you have that kind of depression, kind of that rolled shoulder, you really don't know how to articulate or communicate openly with the world because you're holding something in. You're holding something emotionally in right here. You're grabbing it. You're not allowing it to go out and flow. So when this is open and you're allowing yourself to flow and love and communicate to the world, you're much more efficient at what you want from the world. For example, if you want to get a particular job or you want to go out on a date with someone, you're much more open and ready for that opportunity opposed to being like this. When something comes up, you're not as ready for it because emotionally and physically, you're not open enough for it. So that's just one example of emotional stuff being trapped in your body. And physically, let's just talk about movement. Most people don't know, most of us don't know how to properly bend over or grab something from the ground or even use our feet properly when we're, getting into a squat. And that happens a lot from, the shoes we wear and the lack of movement from sitting down all day. So we don't know how to move these things because they've been asleep for so long. And what I mean by asleep is that, we sit 8, 10 hours a day, and then we ask our muscles to, hey, work for me right now. But you never give them any love to want to work for you. Why do they want to work for you now? Because they're not ready. You're not warm. You're not used to movement, but you're asking for such a demanding movement. And what I mean by demanding is that it's demanding to your body because it's not used to it at all. It's much harder for you to do this movement because you don't know how to do the movement. So our bodies become really inefficient and over time deteriorate. Obviously, we're all going to die and we're all deteriorating, we're all aging, but you could do it much more gracefully and not let yourself fall like this. You could allow yourself to go up like this and slowly fall out as you get older, but you have to take control of your life now. You can't just allow yourself to go like this and boom, because you're going to be fucked. You really are. When you have this much lack of movement, this much lack of body work or touch, like I said, you really don't know how to communicate to the world efficiently through movement and through being open. Take a little sip of that coffee as I finish my conversation here. So, why I think body work is such an important tool, body work and movement, to where our society is right now, is that we sit more than we have ever sat, ever. We have the least amount of movement that we've ever had. Our physical education requirements in schools and people in general, people are not moving. People have no movement. And, I get that life is busy and, we live in this culture, but you really have to kind of change your mindset of not having to necessarily go to the gym, but you could get some movement in at home. Move around, learn how to foam roll, learn how to squat, learn how to warm up your wrist, learn how to move around your neck. Very small things will make big changes over time. So why I think this work is so important is because the more you're trapped like this, the less you could open up. The more we are open up like this, the more individuals are functioning at an efficient rate with our bodies, the more we could be a productive society when it comes to movement and emotional communication. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that we have in our body is emotional baggage and storage that gets stuck and never gets let go until we're ready to let it go, until we're ready to really open that up. And again, I'm not saying that other jobs in our society are not important. I'm saying that this right now, for where we're at and for the lack of movement and touch we have, I feel is much more important than anything else. I think the more that we could focus on movement and body work and awareness of where our body sits in space, we'll have a much better communication between human beings. Because if you've noticed, well, we've all noticed that we've become so distant from touch and communication because we all communicate through this. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there is. I'm saying the more we're like this, the less that we have this physical touch and physical contact, the less that we're doing any of this opening, because we don't have to, because we stay stuck like this, right? And that's a different topic. But what I'm trying to say is the more movement we have, the more body work that we could receive, and the more educated we could become about our bodies, the more efficient we'll become. Catch you guys later.